millions of lives are betting their lives. In the brutal battle for survival, who will fall? Because in the Serengeti, there is no room for mercy. There is only the law of survival. Battle for survival. The Great Migration in the wild, Serengeti. On the endless golden fields, the Serengeti appears as the wild heart of Africa. A land where life bursts into a symphony. This is the kingdom of diversity, where predators and prey coexist in a fragile dance of life and death. And it is here, in the midst of harsh salt lakes like Magadi, that nature weaves another wonder. Tens of thousands of flamingos cover the water with a fiery red color, turning the landscape into a surreal picture, so beautiful that it seems like a mirage. On slender legs like ruby pillars, their bodies stretch gracefully. The long neck curves into soft curves, ending in a distinctive curved beak. The perfect tool for sifting through the salt water for tiny algae and crustaceans. Their plumage, in the sunlight, glows like a pink silk ribbon floating in the air, a result of the carotenoids in their food. This is mating season. Thousands of flamingos participate in a magnificent group ritual. They spread their wings, walk rhythmically, forming perfectly synchronized dances like a silent orchestra. Their loud cries, in harmony with their footsteps and the movement of their wings, create a symphony of love in the vast space. After that dance comes the arduous journey of reproduction. Their mating dance is both a ritual for pairing and for merging into the rhythm of the community. Amidst the bustling scene of thousands of birds, hidden behind a rock by the lake, a predator is watching. Baboon. The patient predator. It was waiting for the moment to break the romantic dance. It moved slowly, its body crouching close to the ground. Each step was careful, avoiding the sound of dry gravel. The atmosphere seemed to freeze. The chaotic cries of thousands of birds could not hide the rising tension. Then it rushed forward. The entire lake was in chaos. The love dance was torn apart by the harsh reality of nature. The baboon had its reward. In this wild world, one slow step, one wrong beat, was enough to exchange for a life. The lake dried up after the rainy season. The bright pink flamingos, after completing their mating and incubation season, began to leave this place. Flocks of birds stretched out in a pink silk ribbon across the sky, carrying the echoes of a breeding season that had ended. But as the pink silk ribbon gradually disappeared from the sky, it was also the time when the grasslands below began to shake. Preparing for an even greater and more brutal performance. The Great Migration of the Wildebeest. The ground shook under the footsteps of thousands of wildebeest. This journey was a series of endless trials. Every day, every hour, was a battle. And on this path, there were many people waiting. On the dry, yellow grassland, the curved horns like crescents reflected the sunlight, forming a sea of grey-black ripples on the dry, yellow grassland. Their eyes were always wide open, seemingly uneasy. Instinct told them that this piece was just a fragile cover. They had not yet reached the riverbank, where the most severe trial would take place. But even on the way there, danger was lurking. In the distance, blurry figures began to appear. Lions. The dark yellow fur blended into the sunburned ground. The lioness lowered her body, every muscle tensed. She walked almost silently. Her golden eyes flashed slightly. The target was right in front of her. The antelope separated from the herd, walking alone without knowing. The dry wind, the sound of grass under the antelope's hooves, mixed with the pounding of her heart. Suddenly, she rushed forward. The lone antelope struggled desperately. It would only take a moment for the herd to have a full meal today. The sun is still burning, but the air is less tense. These are precious moments of rest, when the hunt is over and life has settled down. The herd must continue on its journey. In this world, one fallen individual only leaves the herd with a lesson in vigilance. But there is no room for stopping. The wildebeest must continue its journey. This season, for the wildebeest, is not just the season of migration. It is also the season of mating. The battles do not come from the claws of predators, but from within the herd. The wildebeest, with their stocky bodies, broad shoulders and sparse manes running down their necks. The curved horns like sickles are weapons, and also symbols of strength. They live in huge, disciplined and united herds. The coming mating season is a test of that unity. The adult males, who had been traveling together all along the migration route, were now rivals. In the middle of the parched plains, two males separated from the herd. Tension filled their every breath. They stood still, their eyes locked on each other. Each step closer was a challenge. Each stomp of the foot on the ground sent up clouds of dust as a warning. The herd fell silent, only the wind rustling through the grasslands. Horns clashed. the battle broke out. This was not just a battle of strength, but also a battle of honor and leadership within the herd. The winner gained the right to rule. But the loser, it did not just lose its honor. It carried with it an invitation to death. The wounds and exhaustion from the battle had made it a perfect target for the most patient predators. But the life of the wildebeest did not allow for a pause for long. The battle had just ended, and the herd continued its journey. The footsteps echoed in unison, stirring up dust, reminding them that every challenge, every loss, was just part of the endless flow of migration. And ahead, the great river awaited. The waters swirled, hiding a patient predator. One wrong step could cost them their lives. But for the wildebeest, it was the only way, the way to survive. In front of them, the great river wound like a giant scar on the savannah. The water flowed swiftly, heavy with the smell of mud and life. But in that murky water, there was always a predator waiting. The Nile crocodile. A body up to 5 meters long, its skin rough and hard like armor. Its golden eyes floated silently above the water, observing every trembling step on the bank. They could lie motionless for hours, blending in with the mud, just waiting for the moment their prey was careless. When their giant muscles clenched, they had a bite force many times stronger than a lion's. Enough to crush the bones of any who dare to enter the water. They feed on fish, zebras, and especially the herds of wildebeest that migrate across the river each year. This is the time when they are at their fullest, a cruel feast. The herd is crowded on the bank. Anxious neighing echoes. Dust is kicked up with each stomp. Instinct tells them danger is just ahead, but the desire to cross the river is greater than anything. But in the murky water, nothing stirs. The predator's silhouette disappears. pressure of thousands behind. A leader is cornered. His leap is not brave, but desperate. Hooves touch the river. Then, one after another, forming a living current across the water. Safety seems imminent. The water explodes. A black shadow with a tight bite seizes an unfortunate wildebeest. In an instant, it was pulled down to the bottom. The foam dissipated. The river returned to its eerie stillness. One member had left the journey. The herd continued to cross, for the migratory cycle never waits for the slow. However, safety is never permanent. While the herd enjoyed a rare moment of peace, in another corner of the savannah, another hunter waited. A sinister laugh rang out, disappearing into the vast grasslands. Hyena. The mottled grey-brown fur, the front legs are higher than the hind legs, creating a characteristic limping gait. Their jaws have a terrible bite force, enough to crush the bones of their prey. The yellow eyes sparkle with mischief, as if reading every movement of others. They are famous for being predators. They follow lions, leopards, or even a group of crocodiles to grab leftover meals. But today, hunger urges them. They cannot wait any longer. Their hunting instincts arise. In the afternoon light footsteps glide across the dry grass. Nearby, a mother and herd of impalas are busy eating. The impala has a slim body, long legs, born to fly on the grasslands. With just one jump, they can soar up to tens of meters. The reddish-brown fur glistened in the sun, highlighted by two black streaks running along the hips, making them easily recognizable in the sea of dry yellow grass. Their ears were perked high, their eyes were wide open, always alert as if they had never known peace. They lived in herds. Sometimes only a few dozen, hundreds of them. The large numbers brought safety, but at the same time turned them into giant prey, attracting the eyes of predators. But that fragile peace did not last long. From afar, silhouettes were approaching. The familiar hunched back, each step slow, as if in no hurry. The mother and her child impala seemed alert. The air gradually thickened. In the sweltering heat of the steppe, the heartbeats of the prey and the predator seemed to accelerate at the same time. They rushed forward. At speeds of up to 60 km/h, they easily captured their prey quickly. The mother antelope stood helplessly watching. In this world, the survivor is not the strongest, but the one who knows how to seize the opportunity. That is the harsh law of survival in the Serengeti. However, the Serengeti never stops here. Out there, another predator is waiting for the opportunity to step into the ring. The cheetah, the most fearsome hunter of the savannah. If the lion is the power of ambush, then the cheetah is the embodiment of pure speed. Slim figure, rippling muscles, long tail like a rudder to keep balance. Black eyes with stripes running down the corners of the mouth, a mask of speed. They hunt alone, not hiding for long like crocodiles or lions. The cheetah's strategy is speed and explosion. In just a few short seconds, its body can run more than 100 km/h, faster than any other animal on the ground. A decisive chase for survival, where every second of slowing down means missing out on the only meal of the day. Battles with cheetahs are moments of speed, precision, and ferocity. What awaits ahead in the endless journey of survival of the Serengeti? Because here, life never stops moving. The Great Migration continues. Predators and prey continue to write new chapters in the epic of nature. A great journey where every step, every pounce, every death or survival contributes to maintaining the fierce heartbeat of the savannah. Leave a comment to let us know which animal's fight impressed you the most. If you love wildlife footage, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next journeys. Welcome to the Serengeti, where every being is a warrior. Serengeti, where every being is a warrior. The Serengeti, when the sun is still hesitant on the horizon. The whole plain is immersed in a dim, soft light, is also the time when life begins to stir. At the foot of an abandoned termite mound, small snouts cautiously peek out of the ground. A striped mongoose, greyish-brown fur, its back marked by regular black stripes, sniffs deeply at the early morning air, its ears pricked up like living radar. It looks around for a while, then makes a sound. From the cave, the whole herd begins to flow out like a small stream, flexible, alert. They are small, agile, but not to be underestimated. Each mongoose weighs only about 1 to 2 kgs and is less than knee-high. But instead of being solitary, they choose to live as a society, tight-knit, disciplined and organized. A group can number up to several dozen individuals, and each morning they march like a well-trained expedition squad. As the first light of the sun hits the ground, an older female, usually the leader, makes a series of short, sharp sounds. This is the signal for the group to spread out, moving in a semicircle through bushes, rocky mounds and low grass. The healthy adults move forward, scouting and hunting. The young and the mother go in the middle, protected. A few other individuals always keep high positions, mounds, tree branches, to act as sentinels. Their diet is extremely rich. Crickets, beetles, centipedes, spiders, bird eggs, anything that can be dug up from the dry ground is a potential meal. Mongooses don't just hunt insects or reptiles. Sometimes they target larger prey, such as hares. Once they catch their prey, mongooses hold it down with their front paws, then use their small but sharp teeth to bring it down. They've even been known to use rocks as tools to break eggs, a rare behavior in small animals, showing extraordinary dexterity and intelligence. But what really makes mongooses stand out is their boldness. Some species are willing to confront venomous snakes, including cobras. They don't rush in randomly, but surround the snake, dividing their attention, constantly approaching and retreating, waiting for the right moment to deliver a fatal bite. With extremely fast reflexes and a natural resistance to venom, they can finish off dangerous enemies with just one strike. Not just solitary hunters, mongooses are tactical warriors, acting in groups, under the invisible command of the group. And that is why, despite being small in the vast Serengeti, they are brave enough not to become the prey. One strayed from the flock. High above, the black shadow of the eagle circled, spreading its wings silently. In a split second, it swooped down like an arrow, its claws grabbing the small prey. The scream tore through the air. The whole flock heard it. Instead of retreating, they charged. More than a dozen mongooses screamed, jumped, and surrounded the ferocious bird of prey. Screams, shouts, claws scratching the ground and even the feet of the predator. Surprised and overwhelmed, the eagle was forced to let go of its prey. The chick fell, stunned, but still alive. They pulled back to the nest. Lightning, strong. A small flock chased away a predator in the sky. Because for mongooses, no one is left behind. The world of mongooses does not revolve only around survival, but is also built on sharing and nurturing. Beneath the hard soil of the termite mound, in a warm and safe space, a mother lies on her side, her soft furry belly exposed. The young, newly opened, weak and shivering, huddle in search of milk, curled up like tiny living masses. But the special thing is, they are not just the children of one mother. In the colony, many females give birth at the same time, a clever evolutionary strategy. By giving birth at the same time, the children are not alone, but grow up in large numbers where risks are shared and survival has a higher chance. All mothers raise them together, regardless of bloodline. Those who have not given birth or have been mothers will play the role of wet nurse, taking turns caring for, feeding, and guarding. The whole colony raises, teaches, and loves them together. From finding prey, escaping, to sophisticated alarm sounds, every skill is passed down as a collective heritage. For mongooses, intelligence lies not in the individual, but in the community. They communicate through a complex series of sounds. Each type of enemy, each situation has its own call. It is a language that is not verbal, but surprisingly precise and effective. And then, as the sunlight gradually changed from pale yellow to bright white, the mongoose continued its journey, crossing the dry, brittle grass and the sluggish, rolling dust. In the distance, the ground shook slightly with heavy rhythms. Another creature was approaching. Short, stocky, its long snout touching the ground, an African warty pig was digging for roots in the cracked ground. Its curved tusks pushed the grass aside. Its small but bright eyes were always wary. A creature that seemed clumsy, but was extremely alert. The mongoose recognized it from afar, not a predator, but an ally. A few approached, climbing onto the pig's back skillfully and without hesitation. It seemed playful, but this was a strange symbiotic relationship that had existed for a long time in this dry savanna. The mongoose helps the warthog catch parasites, while the warthog's back becomes an ideal observation point for the mongoose to guard against predators. Both do not need words, just a silent trust forged over time. Sometimes it looks like a spa in the wild, but for the mongoose, relaxation never means letting down one's guard. Because with just one sudden roll, hundreds of kilograms of muscle flesh will fall down like a boulder collapsing a cave entrance, and a small mongoose can be crushed in an instant. They know that well. So even if they jump on the back of their companion, the mongoose always keeps enough distance to escape, always in a position to spring out like a spring, if necessary. In the Serengeti, even friendship requires survival instinct. And if the mongoose is a smart, agile warrior, the warthog is a quiet, resilient survivor, as stubborn as the cracked earth beneath its feet. The warthog's body looks a bit rough, sparse hair, a mane along the back that stands up when agitated, two curved fangs protruding from the lips, curling up like blades. But don't let the rough appearance fool you. Hidden under the rough skin is a formidable defense system. Those sharp fangs are not just for intimidation. When cornered, the warthog is ready to turn around and confront, strong and uncompromising. They usually live alone or in small groups, a mother leading her cubs, quietly foraging along dry valleys, low forest edges, or around shallow water. They dig the ground with their snouts, using their sturdy front legs to dig up roots, tubers, weeds, anything soft enough to chew. Sometimes they also eat carrion or dung. The wise ones are not picky, just need to survive. When the rainy season comes, the female separates from the herd, retreating to an abandoned den to give birth, usually 2 to 6 at a time. For the first few weeks, she hardly leaves the den, only sneaking out when absolutely necessary. The young are nursed, sleeping deep in the dark, and growing up with quiet patience. They are not coaxed, but learn how to survive from the first lessons, scratching the ground, being alert and running when necessary. Warthogs do not hunt. But that does not mean they are weak. When pursued, they charge at incredible speeds, tails erect like antennas, winding through the bushes to shake off their pursuers. When they cannot escape, they retreat back into their dens, heads turned, fangs pointed like weapons waiting. Lions, leopards, hyenas all know that a cornered warthogs are a dangerous opponent. Their dens are usually abandoned burrows of aardvarks or porcupines, sometimes even self-dug tunnels. During the day they go out to forage. At night the herd retreats into their burrows, warm, private and small enough to make predators hesitate. They are not noisy, do not hunt, do not dominate large herds. But they are patient, cautious and very difficult to eliminate from the game. However, no matter how stubborn, warthogs are not out of the hunt and are hunted. Their enemies are present in every ecological layer. Hyenas in packs, lions lurking in the high bush, and leopards hiding in the low branches. Each has its own tactics, its own approach, but they all target the same target, the young, slow or careless individuals. Among them there is a hunter who is not noisy, not aggressive, but dangerous because of his patience and deadly speed. A slender shadow flickered behind the acacia grass, moving as lightly as the wind, appearing for only a moment, and then disappearing again. Eyes squinted in the sunlight. Front legs lifted as if not touching the ground, each step calculated down to each breath. Cheetah. The fastest predator on the planet and a lone artist of the savannah. Its eyes locked on the young warthog lagging behind its mother. A second later, it charged. A golden whirlwind streaked across the savannah. The warthog fled in panic. The mother turned, howling. Too late. The cheetah accelerated like lightning, pouncing, knocking down, biting straight into its prey. Just a few seconds. All movement stopped. The cub lay motionless, its legs twitching one last time. The cheetah did not roar, did not hiss, it just crouched down, quietly beginning its meal. On the savannah, silence is sometimes the most painful cry. Speed does not create drama. Speed is drama. On the savannah of the Serengeti, no one knows that better than the cheetah. In a world where the strongest are not necessarily the ones who survive, the cheetah is the fastest. So fast that the human eye cannot keep up, so fast that the prey does not even realize that they are the target. Its body is born for speed, slim, long, flexible muscles, tail like a rudder, broad chest to keep steady breathing when accelerating. Eyes are surrounded by two black lines extending from the corners to the lips, like speed tears, helping to reduce glare when hunting at noon. Unlike its large relatives such as lions or leopards, the cheetah does not roar. It only hisses softly or makes sounds that are almost like birds, soft, light, and lonely. That graceful body is a sophisticated design for short-term speed. In just a few seconds it can reach more than 100 km/h, but because of that, each hunt is a gamble. If it misses, it has to lie down, recover its heart rate, and let the prey escape in the distant bushes. The cheetah hunts during the day. The light allows it to observe from a distance, select weak prey, and approach secretly. One lunge, one precise pounce. And that's it. The prey is mainly small antelopes, hares, large birds, and sometimes young warthogs, as in the scene just above. But the cheetah also faces risks. It is vulnerable to being robbed. Lions, hyenas, even vultures, all can wait for it to make a successful kill and then appear like hungry ghosts. It is not strong enough to keep the meal. Although it is a hunter, the cheetah is still fragile. When the time comes to breed, the female signals with her scent. Cheetahs do not live in groups, except for a few male siblings who live together. The male comes, mates, and then leaves. The rest is all up to the mother. After more than 90 days of pregnancy, it gives birth to 2 to 6 cubs, small, blind, and completely dependent. They are hidden well in the bushes, moving constantly to avoid detection. Every cry, every movement can alert predators. The mortality rate is high. In some places, only 1 in 10 cubs survive to adulthood. But the mother cheetah still patiently teaches her cubs, one by one, how to crawl low, how to listen to the wind, how to wait. The grasslands are quiet. A lesson begins. The mother cheetah leads her cubs silently across the burnt yellow grass. Ahead, a young impala is grazing a few dozen meters away from the herd, just wide enough to become a target. The mother lies low, her eyes locked on the prey. The 3 cubs follow closely behind, not fast enough to hunt, but big enough to learn. A deep breath. Then everything explodes. The mother cheetah leaps forward like a bolt of lightning. The speed cuts through the wind, the prey lies motionless under her claws. The cubs charged. They bit, clawed, tore, confused but eager. Not because of hunger, but because of their first taste of blood. The hunt was over. The cheetah did not rule the savannah. It was not a king, it was not a bandit. It was a speed artist living by silence, precision, and a little luck. And in a land where every step could lead to death, the cheetah survived by walking 1 pace faster than death. In the vast Serengeti, it is not the strongest that survives. It is the one who waits, who adapts, who sticks together. From a small pack of mongooses, a sullen warthog, to the golden shadow of the cheetah, each creature writes its own story of survival. And that is the true beauty of nature. Fierce, imperfect, but never stops living.